believe it or not. When she doesn't call, when your phone stays silent, it's not just silence, it's communication. It hurts, doesn't it? That quiet space that used to be filled with her voice now feels like an endless echo. You start wondering what went wrong, what you said, what you didn't say. You replay every text, every smile, every touch, and the more you think, the less peace you find. But here's the truth. When she doesn't call or text, it means something. Not always what you fear, but something real. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than any apology, louder than any excuse. And for you, the man who gave everything, that silence might actually be your greatest teacher. So before you pick up your phone again or write that long message you'll regret, stop. Let's talk about what's really happening underneath that silence. If this is happening to you, if your partner has stopped calling, stopped texting, and you can feel that distance growing, then something's definitely off. So stay with me until the end of this video, because we're about to uncover what it really means when she goes silent. And if this message helps you, or you find value in what we talk about here, hit that like button. It helps this channel reach more men who need to hear this truth. You see, most men think silence from a woman means rejection. They assume she's lost interest, found someone else, or simply doesn't care anymore. And maybe sometimes that's true. But here's the deeper side of it. In relationships and attraction, silence is power. And many women understand that, often without even thinking about it. They've grown up seeing that when emotions get heated, when their attention is withdrawn, that's when people notice them most. Psychologists call it withholding validation. But let's keep it simple. It's when someone uses absence to control emotional closeness. When she pulls back, your brain goes into survival mode. You start craving the comfort she used to give. That's how attachment works. It's not weakness, it's biology. When the bond breaks, even slightly, your mind panics. Think of it like this. Your body reacts to being ignored the same way it reacts to physical pain. The part of your brain that feels social rejection lights up just like when you get hurt. So yeah, it feels real because it is. But women, especially emotionally aware ones, sense this. They might not plan it, but they know intuitively that silence gets a man's attention. It makes him overthink, chase validation, and prove his worth. Here's the key though. Your reaction is what defines the outcome. When you chase her silence with endless texts, double messages, or quiet anger, you give your power away. You tell her without words, "My peace depends on you." That's when she starts to see you differently, not as the calm, grounded man she first felt drawn to, but as someone lost in reaction, someone she can predict, and attraction dies in predictability. This is where most men fall into the trap. They think being available, being understanding, will fix things, but that's not what changes her perspective. What pulls her back isn't your chase, it's your stillness. She remembers the man who didn't panic, the man who could carry himself with quiet confidence even when he was hurting. That's the first shift towards stoicism in relationships, realizing that her silence doesn't define your worth. It's not a test to pass. It's a mirror showing you how much of your peace you've handed away. So right now, if your phone is quiet and your thoughts are loud, this is your moment. Not to chase, not to fix, but to observe. Because what happens next isn't about her attention. It's about your response. Now I'll break down what this silence really triggers inside you, and the 7 key shifts that turn the pain of being ignored into the strength of a man who no longer begs for connection, but creates it. Now that you've stopped chasing, let's slow down and really break this down. When she doesn't text or call, your mind goes into overdrive. But underneath that storm, there are layers, moments of emotion that can either strengthen you or shatter you. Here are 7 key shifts that happen in almost every man when silence hits, and how to use each one to level up instead of break down. Shift 1, the shock phase. You check your phone again. Nothing. You tell yourself she's just busy. You wait an hour, maybe 2, still nothing. That's when the shock sets in. Men are wired to fix problems quickly, but emotional silence is something you can't fix with logic or effort. It feels like standing in front of a locked door, knocking harder, hoping it opens. In her world, though, that pause might be her way of gaining space, grounding herself, or even watching what you'll do next. She feels your energy shift when you panic. So the best move? Don't panic. Breathe. Accept that you can't control this part. Shift 2. The need for validation. You start thinking, did I do something wrong? Your brain wants closure. It craves an answer. That's not you being weak. That's human psychology. Women, on the other hand, often test emotional presence without planning to. She may have noticed a change in your confidence, your tone, your attention. Her silence, subconsciously or not, checks if your sense of worth stands on her attention alone. Your move here? Don't go looking for reassurance. You validate yourself. You tell yourself, her silence doesn't decide my value. That single sentence changes everything. Shift 3. The spiral of doubt. The longer the silence, the louder the noise in your head. You start questioning every little detail. But let's be honest, overthinking is just your mind trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist yet. From her side, sometimes she's dealing with her own emotions. Maybe she's tired of arguing, scared to get close again, or unsure if you're still the man she felt safe with. Silence becomes her protection. So instead of spiraling, turn that energy inward. Use the quiet to notice your triggers. Ask, what am I really afraid of losing here, her, or the version of myself that felt complete when she was near? Shift 4. The ego clash. This one's raw. When you feel ignored, your ego steps in. It whispers, she's disrespecting you. And maybe she is, but that fire inside isn't just anger. It's pride mixed with pain. From her perspective, silence sometimes checks if your calmness is real or conditional. Many men talk peace until they feel powerless. You prove your depth here by choosing patience over reaction. You don't fight silence with silence to hurt her. You stay silent to protect your dignity. That hits different. All right, up to this point, we've already talked about the first 4 emotional shifts that happen when she goes silent. But we're not done yet. There are 3 more powerful shifts you need to understand. And after that, we'll dive into how to overcome this whole situation with calm confidence. So stay till the end, because the next part is where everything starts to click. And hey, one small request. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video. We upload every day about women's psychology, red flags, and how to understand a woman's mind in just 30 seconds. Also, drop a quick comment below. Let me know your relationship status. Married, engaged, in a live-in, or single. I read every comment and it helps me know what kind of topics help you the most. Shift 5. The awakening. At some point, it clicks. You realize that every time you checked your phone, every time your stomach dropped, it wasn't because she had power. It was because you gave it away. That's when something changes. You start focusing on you again. Your energy, your mind, your goals. She feels that shift even without words. When you detach, it's like a signal she can feel across the room. Shift 6. The calm before the return. Here's the twist. Often, when you stop chasing, her silence turns into curiosity. Now she's the one wondering. Why isn't he reacting? Did he move on? The energy flips, not because you played games, but because you grew. That calm confidence starts to rebuild attraction in a way chasing never could. Shift 7. The reclaim. When you finally stop fighting the silence, you win something bigger than attention. You win control over your emotions. That's what true masculinity feels like. Not loud dominance, but inner steadiness. You go from needing her response to choosing your response. By the time you reach this point, you've already separated yourself from most men. Now, I'll lean deeper into the emotional build-up. We'll talk about the heartbreak, the doubt, the nights you lay awake asking, why me? And how that pain, when understood, becomes your transformation. Let's be real. Silence doesn't just sting. It eats at you. You lie there late at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment. You scroll through old photos, half wanting to delete them, half scared to let them go. You wonder if she's thinking of you, if she misses you. And in that quiet, it almost feels like you're fighting ghosts. But I need you to hear this. You're not crazy for feeling that way. You're not weak. You're just human. The modern world tells men to get over it, to be strong, to never show how much something hurts. But silence is powerful because it exposes what you've buried, that deep craving to be chosen, to be seen, to be appreciated for who you truly are. When she stops calling, you start to feel invisible. And for men who give their hearts fully, invisibility is one of the hardest things to face. Let's paint it clearly. You did everything right, at least you thought so. You were there for her. You listened, you cared, you gave her your time and energy. But when the energy shifted, she disappeared, and suddenly it was like none of that mattered. That kind of betrayal, even if it's not spoken, cuts deep. You start doubting yourself. Maybe I cared too much. Maybe I should have played it cool. Maybe being good isn't enough anymore. But here's the hidden truth. Her silence doesn't erase your value. It just exposes the imbalance in what you gave versus what she could handle. Some women pull away not because you failed, but because they can't meet that level of depth. They love the idea of being loved deeply until they realize it requires showing up in return. Her silence in that sense isn't rejection, it's reflection. You might remember a moment. The last time you talked, maybe it was a small argument, maybe she was distant. You asked what was wrong and she said, nothing. That word, nothing, echoes louder than any scream. That's the moment your instincts felt something shift. And now, in the aftermath, your emotions are asking the only question that matters. Was I ever enough? And listen, and yes, you are. You don't lose your worth just because someone can't see it right now. In fact, those emotions you're feeling, the tightness in your chest, the anger, the loneliness, they're signs of life. They mean you cared, and caring deeply is never a flaw. You see, Stoicism isn't about pretending you don't hurt. It's about standing tall in that hurt and refusing to let it define you. It's about sitting in the silence and saying, yeah, this hurts, but I'm still here. Because real strength doesn't come from ignoring pain. It comes from understanding it. Now take this in fully. Her silence might have broken your routine, but it doesn't get to break your spirit. You've got to start seeing this moment differently. Instead of asking, why doesn't she call? Ask, why do I feel the need for her call to feel whole? That's where the real power hides, in the healing that happens quietly inside of you. Use this silence to rebuild your identity, piece by piece. Go back to the things that made you feel alive before her. The gym, the drive, the dreams you paused. Because what's really happening right now isn't an ending. It's a reset. Her silence isn't punishment. It's the test before your evolution. Now, we flip that energy. We'll talk about how silence, composure, and self-respect turn the tables. How your stillness becomes the thing that makes her reevaluate, and how your growth makes her regret ever underestimating you. Now you've gone through the quiet, the confusion, and the storm inside your head. This is where the story changes, not because she comes back, but because you finally remember who you are. Let's flip the power. When you stop reacting to the silence, you change its meaning. What once looked like rejection starts to look like reflection. She pulled away, and instead of chasing, you built your strength in the space she left behind. That shift is magnetic. When a man goes quiet, not out of anger, but out of clarity, it unsettles the person who used to have control. She starts asking herself questions she never asked before. Did I misjudge him? Was he always this calm? Did I lose someone rare? That's the silent ripple of self-respect. See, women notice energy even more than words. When your attention changes from desperate to detached, she feels it. It's like a frequency change. One moment she was the center of your world, the next she feels your world keeps spinning without her. That's the moment she realizes silence cuts both ways. You see, men often think power comes from dominance or status, but the real kind, the kind she can't forget, comes from inner peace. It's when you stop letting her actions shake your core. That's pure presence. That's what Stoicism really is in relationships. Steady energy, no matter the storm. Let's be honest though, this isn't about making her regret. That's just a side effect. The real victory is when you no longer need that validation at all. When she finally texts again, when that hey shows up after days or weeks, you won't even feel that same rush anymore. And you'll read it from a place of peace, not desperation. You'll realize the old version of you, the anxious version, is gone. Here's something powerful. When you choose silence, you're not ignoring her. You're choosing yourself. You're saying, my time, my energy, my spirit, they're sacred. Women respect that, even if they don't show it right away. The man they once took for granted suddenly stands taller, not because he became someone else, but because he remembered who he was before he started chasing love that didn't chase him back. And that version of you, centered, calm, unbothered, is the one that naturally attracts everything worth having. You start improving yourself again. More focus, more purpose. You build muscle not just in your body, but in your discipline. You move with quiet power, and she'll feel it before she sees it. So take the silence as a strange kind of gift. It gave you room to rediscover your power. She may or may not come back, but honestly, that's not the point anymore. Because you've learned something that no one can ever take away. Peace is stronger than attention. Presence is louder than begging, and self-respect. That's the loudest message you can ever send. This is the new version of you. A man who doesn't chase what walks away, but builds what stays. His purpose, his mindset, his future. Move like a man who's already enough. Because you are. If you're still watching till now, it's probably because this situation hits close to home. Maybe you're living it right now. The silence, the confusion, that feeling of being left hanging. So take what you learned today and apply it. Don't just listen, live it. If you hold your frame, stay calm, and use this silence to rediscover your power, you'll see the shift. You'll get the attention and respect back that you actually deserve. Not by chasing, but by growing. If this video helped you even a little, do me a favor. Like, comment, and subscribe. It helps this channel reach more men who need to hear the truth about relationships and self-worth. And before you go, I'd really suggest watching this next one. How to make any woman want you. It connects perfectly with what we talked about today. And it might just change the way you look at attraction forever.